we're going to talk about chakra healing, of course. I'm going to talk about what is a chakra, not from kind of a historic perspective or an esoteric perspective, but more from a how do you use it perspective. And this is how I like to teach because it's very practical. And we're going to look at how your chakras are affecting your relationships. In particular, we'll look at two common relationship patterns and how you can change that with your chakras. We're going to look at where you're getting stuck when you're manifesting, which chakra is that energy getting stuck in, and how do you change that so you can manifest more effectively. We're going to look at why change is difficult energetically and how to make it easier, of course. And then we're going to look at energy tools for healing your chakras. So the goal here is to break free of your old patterns and create healthy new patterns for you and your life. So that's what we're going to cover today. All right, so first thing is changing patterns. So we all know that, changing our old patterns is hard. It's once a pattern is established, it tends to repeat. And this doesn't matter if it's something we like or something we don't like. Everybody knows that even the things that annoy us tend to kind of happen over and over despite our best efforts. And this happens in relationships and money and health. We see it all the time. And the more time something repeats, it actually gets harder and harder to change it. So it's kind of like this river that's digging, a deeper and deeper path as it flows. And sometimes, over time, it feels like, it's getting so deep, it looks like the Grand Canyon, like you're not even able to get out of it with your biggest effort. And you can think for a moment, just where in your life do you have something like this? Where do you have a pattern in relationships or money or health where it feels like you're stuck, like you're in this big canyon you've dug yourself into and you don't know how to get out of it? And I just want to reassure you that I'm going to give you the tools today to start breaking those patterns and to dig out of whatever that is and start to set a new path for you. So I want to look at a couple of concrete examples because this always makes it more fun. And the first one I want to look at is a common relationship pattern that I see. And I've heard this from many people. I have clients all over the world, and I've been practicing for a long time. And it's very common. The same patterns come up over and over because we're all very similar. So I'm going to exaggerate a little bit, kind of play on the gender stereotypes, but I want you to know that this is not about gender. This is about something in your chakras. So you could replace the man with the woman or put two men or two women in this scenario and it'll still work out the same because this isn't about gender. It's about chakras. Okay, so let's talk through it. So this scenario is you meet somebody. This is a woman. You get into that relationship and it's going really great. It's really easy and it's fun. And you're thinking, oh, this guy's really different. He's really attentive. He's giving me flowers and sending the text messages and you're feeling really confident about yourself. So you've got this big glow, and you're thinking, oh, maybe this is the one. And you know that you tend to rush into relationships a little bit. So this time you're taking it a little slower. You're taking a break every week, giving him a little space, and taking it a little bit easier. And that's working really well. And then a few months later, you don't notice, but you start slipping back into your old patterns unconsciously, okay? Now, what you do notice is you start noticing your partner's patterns because they're doing the same thing. So you notice, he's not paying as much attention to me. Maybe the flowers stopped, or you're not getting so many text messages, or he's just always at work. Maybe he's just not listening when you're talking now, and you're starting to get a little insecure, thinking, does this guy really love me? And maybe you're asking him more, do you love me? And, it's starting to build up inside you. And this continues, and you start to wonder, like, what is he really doing on that guy's night? Maybe he met somebody else? Maybe it'd be a good idea if I did a little drive-by to check. That's harmless, right? I'll just do a drive-by and check and see if he's still there. And you notice as this continues that your partner tends to actually get more distant. And the more you're chasing, you're sort of chasing them away, and the more he's running. And it feels internally like, maybe I'm right. Maybe something was happening. And, your heart's broken. At some point he says, I just need to take a break. And it feels terrible. Then, you have that big fight and you break up. And you're kind of left feeling like, what's wrong with me? What did I do wrong? Or more importantly, why am I attracting the wrong person, right? And, has anybody seen this pattern? I mean, in your friends at least, probably haven't had it yourself, right? Okay, so this is a very common relationship pattern. I'm going to tell you why this happens with the energy and what happens with the chakras and how you can change this, because it's actually pretty simple to change. Now, let's look at the other relationship pattern. So this is from the other side. So this is a guy, he gets into a relationship. The beginning's really great. It's really easy and fun. You really like this person. They've got this big glow about them, and you really want it to work. And, you know that you're a bit of a workaholic. So at the beginning, you're putting in a little extra effort. You're making sure you get some flowers. You're making sure you send text messages. And it's really fun. You're really enjoying this communication that's a little bit different from you. And you're also thinking, wow, she's a little bit different. She's really cool. She doesn't mind that I have guys' night every Thursday, and she's giving me a little more room, and you feel really comfortable, and you feel really good. Now, a few months later, both of you start slipping into your old patterns again, right? So you don't notice, it's unconscious, but you just slip into that old pattern. So for you, your work is getting really busy. So you start working a little later, you're missing some dinner dates, you don't have time for the flowers or the texting anymore, but you're thinking, it doesn't matter, the relationship's good, I don't need to keep doing those things, and you're happy, right? And then you start noticing it gets a little bit more like you're a little bit distracted during conversations, and she's starting to get a little bit needy, in your opinion, and a little bit suspicious. And one night, even one of your friends catches her doing a drive-by at the men's night, and you get really, really worried, like, oh, why didn't I see this coming? And you decide, I need to take a break to sort this out because I just, I'm too busy. I can't work with the relationship right now. And then you have a big fight and you break up, and you're wondering, why is this happening again? She's just like everybody else, all those other people I've dated. And, why am I attracting the wrong person in my life? What's wrong with me? And again, this is an energy pattern. It's just in the chakras. This is not inherent to male-female communication at all, although there are interesting male-female communication issues in relationships, but this is actually just a chakra problem. So we'll look at that today, and we'll look at how to solve it. Okay, so energetically, what's happening is just a few points I want to point out. One is, remember that at the beginning, you were both initially aware of your energy pattern. So the one person's thinking, I tend to rush in, and so I'm going to just be kind of a little slow and more laid back. And the other person was thinking, oh, I'm a workaholic, so I'm going to compensate for that, and I'm going to consciously put in more effort and attention because I know the relationship needs it. And you're doing this at the beginning because you're both motivated. It's really fun. It's new, and you're putting in that extra time. And then you start to unconsciously slip into those old patterns. And the reason this happens is basically because you didn't really change your pattern. You just compensated for it. So you knew that you were a workaholic, that you needed that time alone, but you didn't do anything to change it. You just sort of tried to act differently without actually fixing the problem. And so, of course, when you were kind of off guard, you started to slip back into that other energy. And the other thing that's funny is you started thinking that this is all about the other person. So you misread the warning signs and thought, oh, there's something wrong with them, or this person is like everybody else before, instead of realizing, oh, it's me. I'm being like I was before, and that's why everything's turning out the same. That's why I'm getting the same results, is, I didn't change that pattern. And the sad thing with this is that if you don't change, if you just keep doing this, it's going to happen again. So unless you understand and change that energy pattern, unless you learn how to adjust that in the chakras, then it's just going to keep happening. But like I said, it's actually a pretty easy change. So we'll look at that in detail today. Okay, so one more pattern that's really common that I see, this is actually in manifesting rather than relationships. And this is a really common problem. It affects your business endeavors and your private things that you want to create. And again, this is a chakra pattern. So it starts kind of like this. You have this great idea, right? It's just brilliant, and you can't believe nobody's done it yet. And you start to get all these ideas for filling in the details. So you've done this research and you're inspired, and maybe you're doing some creative writing, and you're writing this all down. You're talking to friends. You really, really understand how it's all going to happen and how it's going to come together. and you start getting super excited about it. So this is when you're sure it's going to be a huge success, and you can visualize all those happy people and customers and all the money that's coming in and how much fun you're having. And then you decide it's time to take a first step. And so you go shopping and you buy that perfect domain name, and luckily you find just the right one for you. And then nothing. Right? So you get distracted by the next brilliant idea. And a year later, the domain name is expiring. You're wondering, should I renew it? And then you're wondering, why did this happen again? And so you think, maybe I need to take a business class and go learn some more about business. And so you do that, and then you repeat the cycle again and again and again. Now, has anybody done this one? I'm sure you probably have. So I've done this one. And the problem again here is not that you're lacking business expertise, although that could be complicating things too. But the problem here is that there's a specific energy pattern through the chakras that needs to happen before you can manifest things. And so we're going to look at that today in the guided journey. And there's several variations, but if you don't know how to move through the chakras, you'll find a place where your manifestation gets stuck and you're unable to move forward. And it'll be the same place every time. But again, if you understand the chakra energy, it's pretty easy to go in and correct that. So we'll look at that today. So in general, this is just a big question for you guys. I want you to guess, why is change so hard? So I gave you the clues. Go ahead and type in some answers here. And the first person grabbed it is perfect. So Michelle says habit. Yeah, and Goodney says momentum. Okay, so that's exactly right. So you have momentum, right? So it's like that river flowing down its previous path, digging deeper each time. And your energy is the same way. So as the energy flows through your body is adjusting, your chakras are adjusting to certain patterns. And so the next time the energy flows through, it'll tend to flow the same way. Now, the second reason why it's hard is that people tend to try to address these problems physically, right? So something happens, so you go take another business class. Or your relationships are difficult, so at the beginning you try extra hard, you do the extra things. Now, but you're addressing it physically, which is actually the result rather than the cause. The cause is in the energy, okay? And if you're trying to address it with these external symptoms, it's also very slow because physical changes are very slow and effortful, and it takes some time to get that feedback loop. And also keep in mind, if you don't change the pattern, those changes you're trying to make in the physical world feel very unnatural because you're fighting or pushing against your normal pattern. Now, if you want to change it in the energy, it's much different, right? You're going to get much faster turnaround time to success. And this just requires your awareness and your intention. It's not that difficult compared to physical manifesting. Now, I should say too that manifesting or changing things in your energy doesn't mean that you'll always have immediate results. And this is something I've seen a little bit in the feedback from students, is that you're expecting instant results when you do energy work. Now, sometimes that will happen because your energy is at the right place and it's the right timing. So all you have to do is move the energy and boom, you see results. But sometimes what you're doing is you're adjusting the energy so the next time the opportunity comes up, that you can flow easily into it. Doesn't mean the opportunity is always at hand right now. We're actually going to look at that in more detail in week 7 and help you get that timing aspect down so that you're not feeling frustrated when you don't get that big, quick change. Okay, so if you don't understand the chakras, you end up stuck in these same frustrating patterns. You tend to repeat them over and over and over again unconsciously. And this can be very, very difficult because if those same miscommunications happening, the same patterns are happening, you're going to keep asking those same questions like, why am I attracting the wrong people? Why am I failing in business? Why am I getting into power struggles? Why is it hard for me to connect with people? Or, all these different questions that seem to be the same thing and you don't know the actual answer. And this is why chakra work is so fun, because when you can dive down in, you'll start to get those answers. So again, if you don't understand, the same difficulties will manifest. Maybe you've got those great ideas, but they're not coming in, to full fruition. And you're probably left wondering, again, why is this happening again? And the understanding has to do with your chakras. So if you know how to use your chakras, there's all kinds of amazing adjustments you can make and big results you can get. First thing, of course, you can change your patterns. You can clear those deepest energy blocks inside you. And even the things you couldn't find before, you weren't sure where to look, you'll find once you learn how to use the chakras better, that you can find those problems and move them out yourself. So this is really how you get out of those ruts in the road or those grooves. If you know how to use the chakras, you can fundamentally change how you feel in and out of your relationship. So not only can you change this pattern, whatever your dominant pattern is, but you'll also learn how to easily connect with people and how to feel good when you're by yourself. And both these are really, really valuable tools. And then the big thing with manifesting is if you understand that pattern of how energy manifests through the chakras, you can know where your weakness is and either delegate that or heal that or move it in some way so that you can start receiving all that abundance that's waiting for you that has just been kind of in front of you, but you couldn't quite get to it. And then the big benefit, of course, the big picture is that you're going to create new patterns as you adjust your chakras, both in new patterns in relationship and business and money and so on, and in your body. And that's when everything gets happier and your life gets more exciting. All right, so the big message for this week is just if you can change your chakras, you can change your life. So whatever that big pattern is for you that you're struggling with, you can find that energy and you can change it. And again, keep in mind, I'm not saying that this is going to be instant or it's going to be painless or no effort. Change sometimes is a little bit of work. You get in, find the energy, and you adjust it, and then you start getting different results. But if you've been going the same way for a long time, it may take a little while for your physical world to adjust and to catch up to your energy. And that's okay. If it happened instantly, it would actually be a little bit radical. You actually want things to happen in a gentle and graceful way. Okay, so hopefully you're motivated and you're excited to learn more about chakras.